Hello, this is Doug Hammett with Christian Parenting University. I want to talk to you today about how to stop temper tantrums. Now, this becomes a very critical matter, and I'm going to share with you a principle that not only applies to the issue of temper tantrums, how to bring them to an end, how to deal with them, how to control them, but I'm also going to share with you a principle that, taken beyond that, in many other areas of parenting, will help you and facilitate you as a parent being able to do a much better job and get good perspective. Now, it'll come more towards the end as we head there, but I've got to set the stage first, and so hang with me, if you will, for just a moment. Christian Parenting University also has, at the very bottom here, we've put together a video that'll help you with the STOP formula. And you can click on that and go over there after this is over. So don't do it right now. You want to grab this yet. Let me just share with you just real quickly about how to stop temper tantrums. Temper tantrums indeed are something that do happen with every child. Now, I've heard parents say, no, my kids never. Well, let me tell you, they at least began. And maybe you as a parent were able to get control of it and keep it from becoming some full-blown thing. Maybe they've never done it in a grocery store, in a public setting, only at home, etc., etc., etc. And I would understand that. But children do have a temper. Now, let me just say to you, I just read the news just a moment ago, and I saw where a tennis star, so-called tennis star lady, who just threw a temper tantrum, and another lady who threw a temper tantrum in a restaurant, and now some problems are coming because of that. Temper tantrums are not just confined to children, they also happen in adults. Very simply, a temper tantrum is when a person, no matter what age, loses control and lets their anger get control of them. Now maybe you're seeing yourself already. Indeed, an area we all need to pay attention to, but especially as we're raising our children, if we want to lay hold of them and be able to help them have rule over their own spirit. So how do you stop a temper tantrum? Well, here we're primarily considering right now with Christian Parenting University, we're considering the ages of 2 to 12. So we're dealing with young children, all right? But the Bible speaks to us about something that's very important about the age, if you will, at which we release our children, turn them out into the world. And it's said over in the book of Genesis, chapter number 2 and verse number 24, it says, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother." Now, we might ask the question, okay, well, when does a man leave his father and when does he leave his mother? When does he leave under their protective custody? And maybe custody isn't the right word there. But when does he leave that era of time? And the Bible says, "And he shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." It's at that point in time when indeed he's ready to head out into the world and be his own person, if you will, and take up his own family. Now, what age is that? Well, in some cultures in days gone by, that might have been 12, 14 years of age. Some days, nowadays, we would look at things maybe in America at the age of 18. Others would look at 20 or 21 or even 25 or a little later. Let me say to you, I don't know that it's an exact age, although I do think we could pinpoint a particular age. Now, I'm not going to do it here. Not enough time in this video. But I think we could particularly look at a particular age, if you will, in the Bible, which gives us some good indications. Now, let me share with you, if I may, this very issue of a principle that I learned several years ago, which gave me perspective that helped in so many areas in raising my children. When my children were first born, let me get my fingers up there where you can see them, my control of their life was at the maximum. Their control when they were first born was at a minimum. They had none. They had no control over themselves, no control over their habits, no control over even their movements when they're first born, if you will, no control over their body functions and so on. None of that. It was just complete looseness, if you will. Everything, all right? But as they began to grow and mature, and if they were normal children now, if your child has some physical disabilities, some of this will be a little different, or some mental disabilities, be a little different. But if they are growing in a normal manner, they begin to exercise more and more control on their own. When they do, our control begins to shrink, if you will, And the goal becomes, now watch this goal, the goal becomes that as they get to an age of being in control, of ultimately going out and living their own life, our control should be none. I'm talking control here now, not just not influence or trying to give advice. I'm talking about control. Their control becomes all powerful, and our control becomes none. Now, there's one other factor in here. I wish I had a third hand. God only gave me two. And that would be, at this point, they should have learned how God's control should be everything, and their submission to Him should be total, if you will. Now, that very principle, if I may, just real quickly introduce it to you again, quickly. It is that when that child is very young, and we're especially interested in the ages 2 to 12, and so we're looking at the young ages, ages 2, around the toddler ages, if you will, with this temper tantrum thing. That's when you want to get a good hold and handle on this. You want to be able to stop those temper tantrums at least at that age. You want to start working on it. You need to realize that, no, you can't control in the sense of being in total control of a child at the age of 2. They're going to do things on their own, and sometimes out of control of you. But you need to learn how to stop those temper tantrums. Now, at the age of 2, you're not going to be able to sit down with them. I know some parents are recommending and have been recommended that they try to sit down and reason with a 2-year-old. You're not going to reason with a 2-year-old. You kind of got to outfox them, if you will. And pattern interrupts are great at this point. If you can do something that catches them off guard, I mean completely out of the ordinary, you're gonna stop them in their tracks, and they're going to get distracted, if you will. And then it's at that point you can circle back around and deal with some of these things. Now, I know there's some parents who say, and some Christians who would say, oh, well, I know what to do. You know, you just spank them right away. Well, let me tell you, in the middle of a temper tantrum, a spanking may not, now it might be, but it may not be the very best answer for that particular situation. And a proper spanking, biblically, we're not really going to get into that here, but a proper spanking biblically is anything completely different, if you will, from child abuse or in any way punishing a child. And I just give you a hint of that. We'll talk about that at another time. But properly dealt with, we're not talking about punishing a child. We're not talking about in any way abusing a child. We're talking about getting their attention, interrupting that pattern so that they stop what they're fixated on. They can only think about one thing at a time, and get their mind fixated instead on heading in another direction. We re-divert them in another direction, and then we begin to train them on how to control their own spirit. And that's where we want to head. We want to head towards teaching them how to control their own spirit, so that as they get older, they can take control of themselves, and we don't have to take control of them, but they're able to recognize when their anger's getting out of control, or their anger's beginning to rise up, maybe would be a better way to put it, that they can get hold of that and bring it under their control, and most importantly, under the control of Almighty God, and the fruit of the Spirit can begin to flow out of them as well. So what we're looking for is a way to be able to interrupt their pattern. We're looking for a way to be able to get control of them, and that also is, now watch this, as a parent, that is them having great respect for you as a parent. Recognizing that what you say, you mean, and what you say goes. And when they get that, at the age of 2, and they begin this anger coming out, and they see you stopping them. Now, I taught my boys in an early age, I taught them to listen. When they heard that snap of the finger, they were looking at me. They knew something was up. Dad was looking for them. Dad was looking at them, and Dad had something to say. I could see them from across the room doing something. Snap my fingers. They'd look in a crowd. They look across at me. They knew, uh-oh, something, and they were paying attention to someone who was in control of their life, in charge of their life. That's where we want to bring our children to. And so there's a mixture of this. And in this stop formula that we give you in the video below, if you go and click that link below, now not the one that's here on the screen, christianparenting.org, that'll take you to my website and tell you more about the program and other things that we've got available there. But in the dialog box down there, the description box, you'll find the link that'll take you over to that video. You'll have to give me your email in order to get it. But with that email, you're going to get some other things sent your way as well. And so I encourage you to open those up. but you're going to get that video, a very simple STOP formula that will help you evaluate where are the problems, where's the sticking points, and what do I need to do to be able to make this temper tantrum issue stop dead in its tracks and get control of this. You can do it. So let me encourage you to go and watch that video right now while you can, and pay attention now. There's going to be another video. Number 5 will be coming very quickly, and we're going to talk there about how to discipline a toddler. I think it'll be very interesting to you. I thank you for joining me. May God bless you is my prayer.